men are being punished for rejecting women. So a lot of guys are saying, yeah, this is it. We're done with the nonsense. We're done with the games. We are done with the gaslighting. And of course, women are not going to let things end easy. As a result, men are being punished. Let's go ahead and jump right into the video.
What's up? Welcome back to Alpha Central. I'm your host, Jack, and today we're taking a look at when women get rejected and men stop simping. But let's dive right in, right after you subscribe, of course.
Disclaimer, this video was made for strictly comedic/artistic purposes. No offense is intended towards any individual featured in this video.
Okay, Dad, you have two options. A, staying quarantined in the house with Mom, or B.
B.
He was not having it. I feel like he probably had a hard time during the great year of 2020.
Give me some.
What you want to know?
What you would say when you come up to me?
I ain't say nothing.
Why not? That's tough. Pass already. She had the tough. I love you. Appreciate you.
Hey, when you have an attitude like that, then don't be surprised when you get it back.
I'm trying to get in your pants. Like, I'm gonna rub your back, I'm gonna cook you a meal, and like, you're gonna give me amazing and we're gonna call
But here's the thing, right? I don't care how good you are in bed, how good you... If you are a quarrelsome woman, if you bring conflict into my life, if you don't add value beyond just this bringing, I don't care how good you are in bed.
Shit, but imagine you're like stressed out and like you're just like, you're just like, oh, I'm so stressed, and like your girl just gets on her knees and she's like shady, you know, like, man, once stressed out, I'm just stressed out of you.
Seems like this man is not shallow, and the proof is in the pudding. He just wants a woman that adds value in a relationship. That seems reasonable to anyone.
You ignore me? You get my attention.
What's a toxic trait in a guy that you love?
They reply late.
How late we talking?
Like 24 hours late.
Does that work? You think it works?
Yeah,
it works
it
on you?
works.
How did that make you feel?
Ignore.
You can see that women in Western society are extremely toxic today in a lot of their behavior and their responses. You know, the first girl, she basically is an individual who doesn't, you know, I will say this, I agree with her on some basis, but the problem is that we're looking at, you know, garden tool behavior. A man does want a woman who is going to be there for him when he is stressed out. And as a part of her job, she said the right things, actually. She said that she will cook for him, she will clean for him. And when he's stressed out, she will make sure that his balls are empty and his belly is full. And that is the correct answer. That is 100% the correct answer. What I do worry about is that, you know, there's a lot of garden tool, you know, there's a lot of garden tool hints in there. And you know, there was a woman named Diana, and her last name was Lorraine, and she was a dating coach, and I don't know what's become of her, but I spoke to her a number of years ago, and she used to always, you know, she was a dating coach for men, but she used to talk about women. And you could see how frustrating it was, because she would say to women, ladies, all you have to do to keep a man happy, you know, is be a lady, you know, basically make sure his, you know, balls are empty, belly is full. Be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. And that's the important thing. That is the important thing. Now, I don't want to, you know, a woman that feels so casual to just outright say, you know, say just about anything. I don't like that. You know, I like a woman who has self-control, who has dignity and self-respect. But at the same time, you know, when I'm not, you know, that's a part of her job as a wife. Because if I'm stressed out and, you know, how is she going to alleviate my stress? I think that Brian is pretending to be a bit, you know, holier than thou. And he's doing the whole tradcon thing. And I don't like the tradcon people. I absolutely do not like the tradcon people. I will say that in the end, I think that girl, if she, you know, the problem is that show, you know, the Whatever podcast, it's a show that has continuously, you know, garden tools on there. And, you know, garden tools have garden tool behavior. And a lot of these, you know, garden tools, now they want to reform themselves and, you know, find Jesus. There's one that literally was on there, and now she's found Jesus, and she's left Only Fools, deleted it, and, you know, gotten rid of all her garden tool accessories. And a lot of guys are basically trying to simp, but, you know, the tradcon community is welcoming her with open arms. And I think that that's also kind of dangerous because, like, these people who had this exact behavior, now we're supposed to turn around and act like, oh, we're going, they've changed. I talked about this many times where I told you they're going to go to the church. They're gonna flip it up, after being on Lonely Fools and OnlyFans. They're gonna flip it up and say that they're born again, so God has restored their chastity, and that person, LaQuisha, is gone. You're talking to Lauren now, and that bad person that was there before, she is no more because she has been washed by the blood of Jesus. So you cannot judge her because Jesus, his passing, what he did on that cross, it washed away our sins from the beginning and to the end. So you cannot judge her, and you are not above her. And the only one who can judge her is Jesus Christ, because she is washed in the mighty, of Jesus. And I'm just thinking to myself, guys, this is why I still tell you to stay away from the church, because the church leads to the streets, and the streets lead to the church. And the people that you're going to find in there, most of them today, they all come from the streets. And there are people who are going to say, well, Angry, that's what the church is there for. Guys, never forget that the church is a place for sinners, not for saints. But the problem is that all of those sinners are acting like they're saints. You have to be so careful. If you want to find, there's a saying that, and I actually got this from the Manosphere. There's no kind of hate like Christian love. And it's absolutely true. As human beings, we are not perfect people. But a lot of these tradcon people, you have to admit, they're kind of creepy too, aren't they? They're kind of creepy. They're kind of creepy. They live these holier than thou lives, and then you find out later on that like certain things were happening behind closed doors. Like how are they treating their kids? I watched Spawn Wave. Many of you guys know I watched Spawn Wave. Spawn Wave is a gaming channel, and one of the guy who runs Spawn Wave, John. I think John is really awesome. But a couple of things about John. He reminds me a lot of Ned Flanders, and he's really worked on himself over the years. He got in shape. I saw videos of him from years ago, and he used to be a heavier guy. Worked out, got in shape, looks younger. He looks amazing. He's a model for the gaming community. But there's a joke. There's a joke, and I heard about this. I think it was RGT who said it. Like, they like to try to provoke John a little bit. And one of the inside jokes that they have, one of the jokes that they make is that, John is, he's punishing his children. So he's using physical discipline on his children as well as his wife. And and of course, I don't think it's true. I hope not. I hope not. But one of the things is, like, when you have these people that come across as like, oh, we're so perfect and we have this perfect family. Guys, I went to this convention once. My father forced me to go to some convention years ago. One of those money scheming things. He used to be into all of those, like the Amway garbage, and there was a family there once. A family of that were showing that they were showing the family, and like the family were like, they were evidently very wealthy, and they were like models for the company, and you could see what they had achieved, and they looked like the white picket fence, and there was the son and the daughter and the wife and the husband. And this is where my critical thinking skills came in, because my father, at one point in his life, was a cop. And I looked at them very carefully. I was a teenager by this point, and I said to him, something doesn't look right with these people. The behavior of the children, the behavior of the wife, those smiles, these people they barely act like they know each other. And at first he says he wants to say that I'm seeing things. And then after a while, he goes, "Yeah, I see it. Let's get out of here." Guys, this world is not what it seems. People are running schemes and scams everywhere you turn. I mean, the internet is a mess. You cannot trust anything you see or hear on the internet. And with this whole thing where you can use Chat GPT or OpenAI to generate videos now, of things that may or may not have actually occurred, or you can modify videos and modify images. As a result, when you live in a world like that now, you increasingly have to question things. I mean, they have videos where you have like Jordan Peterson talking to like Joe Rogan. It's just an example. And they basically change everything around to the point where the AI now almost perfectly mimics Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, and it sounds like they're having an actual conversation. They did something similar. They did something similar with George Carlin recently. I think it was George Carlin. Yeah, it was, and they basically were able to make it sound like George Carlin was doing a new comedy special, and his family, basically his estate, went after them for it. But it just shows you, and it was actually pretty good, but it just shows you the power of what's happening around us, of technology evolving, but the fact that you can't trust anything. But it's always been like that. So much of our reality is simulated. Long before AI came along, much of our reality is simulated. People, like, we see things happening, we hear things happening, we don't realize that these are all actors. These people are actors. Okay? They're deliberately trying to deceive us. I remember Dave Chappelle talked about, back in the 90s, there were some guys playing like dominoes. Yeah, was it dominoes? Playing dominoes, and they were like, they're like, oh, come on, come and try your luck, see if you win. And there were a bunch of guys around, and the guy was like playing, and anyway, so Dave went, and he put his money, and he basically like, okay, so guess where the domino is, or some nonsense. And Dave lost, and he lost his money, and they got him. It was a trick. And Dave stood there. Instead of going home, Dave Chappelle stood there and he observed them. And he realized that the guys that were with the guys doing the dominoes, they were their friends. And they were there to hype them up and to, trick people into believing that these guys were legit. And, at some point, Dave got, someone went up to them to go play. And Dave said, hey, don't trust them. Those guys are their friends. And, they got very furious, and they went up to Dave, and Dave was scared. But then the guy softened that, and he said, listen, don't ever come between a man and his money. And, you have to understand, it's all simulated. You must trust nothing around you. Trust absolutely nothing around you, because it's all fake. It's all fake. It's 100% fake. They're just tricking us. They're completely tricking us. And you have to be aware of this. There's always people looking to trick you. And there's a saying that you can easily separate a fool from his money. Okay? You guys go on, you travel overseas, you go to the Philippines, you go somewhere to just to relax, and people are, the people there are like, oh, they're so friendly. They're like, oh, how long are you staying? And you think, oh, they're just friendly. No, they're trying to figure out how long they have to rip you off. Yeah, many of you don't know that. You go, let's say you go to get a haircut or something, and they ask you, oh, how long are you staying? Yeah, they're only asking you that so that, if you're in another country, so that they can figure out how long you're going to be there. So how long do they have to rip you off? It's rough. It's rough. And the best answer is usually, oh, I'm going to be here a couple of months, because you don't want them to think that you're leaving right away. Because if they think that you're leaving right away, then that could mean that they'll say, okay, so I need to get whatever I can get out of this guy now, while the going is good. Guys, I just want to remind you also that I have a channel called Angry, where I discuss gaming, anime, geek stuff, nerd stuff, real world stuff, and whatever else interests me. There's a link to it in the description of the video. Go check it out. Subscribe to the channel. Support my work. I also have another channel called Men Walking Away. And if you're enjoying the content on this channel, you can find more content like that on the Men Walking Away channel. There's a link to it in the description of the video. You can subscribe to the channel. There's also a link to the Angry channel. You can subscribe to that channel, support my work. Guys, what do you guys think about everything we discussed here today? Men are being punished for rejecting women. I want to hear your thoughts on this. You know what I think, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. And cheers.